Greetings, my beautiful soul angels, wherever you are, and whichever side of the world you're chiming in from. Today, our special guest is Shirley, who's a soul healer and a soul aligned business coach. Using the spiritual technology of Tower Inner Alchemy, Shirley helps her clients to embody their soul light more deeply by breaking down their mental and energetic constructs, illusions, and activating their divine blueprint, vision, and purpose. What an honor and a pleasure to have you here today. How are you, beautiful angel?
Thank you, Veronica. It's so wonderful to be here. I am excited to the depths of my belly.
And it's evening. What side of the world are you joining us
Yes.
from?
I am joining from South Africa, so right deep down south. And yes, it is evening. It is most of the time I'm in evening when you're in daytime. So
Amazing. So we get to infuse some of the wild African pure
exactly.
power, passion, energy into this topic.
Totally.
Oh, it's going to be juicy. Amazing. All right, let's dive straight into it. Question for you. What was that one dream or one lightning that happened in your life that you saw a clear vision of what you're supposed to do and what your road is ahead?
I had this incredible experience where I was actually at a festival in the desert here in South Africa. And there it's actually similar to Burning Man. It's like an African equivalent of Burning Man, right? And they had this amazing temple where everybody came for the week and they put their prayers and their intentions and they just really fed their energy into this temple. And it was at the burning of this temple, like this temple burnt and the fire came, and it's like this firebolt just came straight into my third eye. Like it was a phenomenal, an esoteric experience. And that just was, it was like it just woke me up. It's like it purged my third eye, and suddenly I was just awakened to a totally different path. It might sound a bit radical, but that's exactly what happened to me.
Do you feel that that was associated to a certain closure or event in your life? Or did it just happen because you've done enough work that was like, okay, you're ready for this gift to unfold?
I think it was a mixture. I think I'd definitely done enough work because I had done so much work up until that point. But I also feel that it was kind of just divinely orchestrated, that it was almost like the divine was like, okay, now's your time. I'm plucking you out of where you are, and it's now time to step onto this accelerated timeline and to just, you know, become something completely different. So I think those two go hand in hand.
And when you had your third eye activated, then you probably
Mm.
started seeing, hearing, and sensing different realms at the same time. Was it easy for you to distinguish between the worlds and understand what that gift is and how you're supposed to use it? Or it's like a evolvement into continuing discovering what the true potential that you have?
Oh, it was definitely involvement for me. Like it was definitely that feeling of peeling back the layers, and also sort of digging deeper into the shadow to come back to clarity. So sometimes it feels a little bit like a few steps forward, one or two steps back into the confusion, to look in the confusion and then understand and come back to the clarity. So it wasn't a smooth journey from that point, to be really honest. And I think for many people it isn't, right. It took me a long time for the remembering to land at different levels and to really open and activate my gifts even more.
Because there are a lot
Mm.
of people on the summit, they're looking forward to activating their gifts and like, I want to open to this, I want to open to this. And there is terms and conditions to opening up to certain gifts or to growing spiritually. Of course, there's a price to pay for all of it. Do you have a story or certain specifics that you could share with us that will guide us someone that is in that path? Like, okay, I'm going to open up my
Mm.
gifts, but this gift came at a big price. What do I do now?
If I'm going to share it via my own story, because when my gifts really started to open up much deeper, I was called to leave the city and to leave my old life and to actually come to a place where I moved off the grid, and I started to hold earth grid space here. And actually, my husband and I lived in a caravan for 2 years, and we had to build our house and, really start from nothing. At the time, it felt like a huge price for me. It really did. because my gifts were still coming online alongside that. And the lesson for me was follow the intuitive nudgings and trust that spirit absolutely has your back. And it's really only in retrospect that you look at the journey and you're like, wow, I chose this, because in some of those steps, it feels more like a sacrifice than it feels like an overwhelming resonance. I'm in this bliss state and everything is working for me. And, sometimes you kind of have to go through the eye of the needle. And that's when you feel the wings on the other side. It's like the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. And that's what that journey was for me. So I think my tip is follow the intuitive nudging and just keep following, just keep following. And you're at the end when you're able to look back and go, wow, everything has been in absolute divine timing. And you have to reach that place of conclusion, that place of gratitude and knowing and trusting that everything has been the way it's meant to be.
So in a way, when you develop your way to live your life or see the world through this lenses of gratitude, the life becomes the same.
Absolutely. It's like this, we have this feeling of like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? What are my gifts? And you feel you ground yourself so much into the what if question, and you can really ruminate over it. And yet at the same time, it's moment by moment living purpose, just by living you're in purpose. And so it's this duality that you kind of have to find your balanced road to walk on, where you hold your purpose lightly at the same time as you let it be all that is important to you.
Wouldn't that be the first question to ask yourself? What is truly important to me? Why am I here? In fact, that is a question that I want to ask you. Why are you here?
Well, I'm definitely here because I chose to be here, first and foremost. Like I really strongly feel that level of sovereignty that comes through to say, I chose to incarnate again in this lifetime. And at the same time, I chose to ascend in this lifetime, definitely. So there's a calling on me to come and step through this veil and go through this remembrance journey and step back into my mastery so that I can hold the vibration that is there to support this great awakening that's happening collectively. And at the same time, fulfill everything that's part of my soul contract, my real original soul contract, right? It starts as a choice point for me. And that was a big journey in itself, because I had to go to this place of understanding my soul contract and taking back my power and saying, but I chose it, even though there were parts of it that feel like it feels like it's imposed. The lack of memory of where you come from and who you are feels like it's imposed on you when you fall into this level of density. But I think the strength comes when you're like, well, I'm here because I chose to be here. First and foremost, I chose for this experience. I chose for the abundance of what it is in each moment and in each experience.
Just by realizing that you made a choice to be here now and choose the family members and choose the path that you are living right now, empowers you to go from a victim mode to a responsible mode. Because wait, if I chose that means not only am I strong enough to handle everything that comes into my life, but I am strong enough to become a better person in a process.
That responsibility is the foundation and the root, right? It's the absolute reflection of the sovereignty. One of my favorite sayings that's come to me is that accountability and responsibility is the mantle of our sovereignty. When we can understand our true freedom, we can wear this coat of, kingship or queendomship, or, whatever you want to call it, this coat of being responsible and taking sacred action and sacred guardianship and kind of holding the cosmic laws and the divine laws, because we're that sovereign. That makes sense.
Now that you touched on a freedom, the story that I'm guided to ask you is, was there a time when you worked with somebody and they tasted freedom for the first time, and how did they manifest it in their life?
I actually worked with somebody who had been in a relationship that wasn't an equal partnership. And she had really struggled to find freedom in that space, right? And it was a dense relationship to the degree that sometimes she almost wasn't in her body when she wasn't present in it. And so we did a lot of work around, who she was and what was her soul contract, and what was the ancestral healing that needed to happen, both in her sacred masculine and her feminine lines, right? To get her to this point of taking responsibility. So it comes back to what we discussed earlier, taking that level of responsibility. And when she was able to take responsibility for that whole situation, so it's like you can heal a whole situation if you take responsibility for all of it. That's when freedom comes for me. So I think sometimes when we're in a duality or in an against situation, it may be in a relationship, it doesn't really matter. But when we're in a victim mode or we're against the other option, we're not taking full responsibility for all of it, where we can see our perspective and we can hold the exact opposite perspective of that duality. That's when we can take responsibility for all of it. And that's when we hit freedom, because it's like that energy just needs completion.
The energy needs completion. Beautifully said.
Mm.
I want to ask
Mm.
you, because you have certain structure about your energy field, that how was South Africa is something that you chose, or did the land called you and you not ended up there?
Mm. The land definitely called me. The land, exactly where I am, the land called me to, and it was, I followed the call with no question. But I have ancestry from here. And now that I've done deeper work into that, I understand why I was born here, So I guess, do you have a yes or no answer to that? I think it's always both. When the call comes, the choice is there and the choice is made. But it's definitely that I'm meant to be here, without a doubt. Yeah.
Do you find that being in that environment, in the location, infuses your practice and the energy that you channel with something very specific than any other location? What is the true power and essence of the environment that you channel? I guess that is the question.
Yeah, that's an awesome question. So I feel that this environment has a real ancient layer to it. It has a level of ancient connection. It's kind of palpable when you're in it. It's like you can ground deeper, and therefore you can have more cosmic awareness if you're open to that, and your energy body can go there, and you can hold that. It's the level of ancient wisdom, and therefore also there's a level of cosmic oneness. So it opens a level of cosmic oneness that I haven't experienced in other places, but I haven't traveled so much since I've been this open either. Do you know what I mean? So
Oh, I do.
I don't want I don't want to compare it, because I don't, who am I to say it's not about more or not, but there's definitely an ability to go exceptionally deep and go to a different level of oneness that I've experienced here.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to come to Africa this February, and somehow things didn't line up. But the energy of Africa has been calling me for a while, and it's like that pure, the runness, the wildness, the core ground that we began from. At least that's how I can describe the energy, and hopefully
Absolutely.
can infuse some of
Yeah.
that in the meditation that you'll guide us on today. One of the questions that I have is, when somebody comes to you for help, what is it, the main thing that, where the pattern that majority of people lead with, or where the problem they mostly have?
It's got to do with their lack of belief that they can have their dreams, or that they can validate their passions or their chosen path, right? So it's either this feeling of, I'm not worthy of what I want, or I can't call my dream into my reality. It always comes down to a level of worthiness, not feeling worthy for the calling that's on your soul. I think that's the underlying part of it. And that's why I feel there's so many people who come to me who are scared to step out into that dream, or scared to open that door and blaze their own trail. And that's mostly because it's a lack of self-belief and a lack of self-confidence and feeling worthy, that actually I can co-create this with the universe. I actually am called by the universe to do this, you know?
And how would you guide somebody to break through the limiting belief that they're not good enough to pursue the mission that they were meant to in the first place?
It's a really good question. I love it. So the first thing I do is I lead them through exercises and tools that help them to embody their soul more so they can see it from their soul perspective. Because it's really only that higher perspective that gives you enough view of the big vision to then be able to be prepared to do the harder work, like in a 3D realm, right? So I feel the more you embody your soul, the more you can start to feel sovereign, the more you start to believe that it's true, and the more you have the strength to step out no matter what's happening around you.
Magical. That's the
Mm.
place that we all want to be, right? Is there
Completely,
is there a
completely.
practice that you can share with our audience or some tools that you can use every day to hopefully stay in that balance in that mission?
Definitely. Well, there's one practice that I use a lot, and that's actually called deep earth pulsing. So this is even something I would do before any of my meditations, or just it's a way of totally grounding much deeper. And what it is actually pulsing from side to side between your masculine side and your feminine side. And at the same time, you go into a deeper space of meditation and you start to breathe the earth's chi. So you start to breathe the earth field up through each of your feet. It's like you breathe it in, and then you breathe it out on the other side. Then you breathe it in and you breathe it out. And so what happens is you start to breathe that earth energy into your body, and especially up into like your hip area or your womb area, or your stomach. And that energy is like the natural cycle energy of the earth, and it's at a much different vibration, and it just starts to create all of this space in your energy body. And at the same time, you're balancing between your masculine and your feminine side. So what you're doing is you're grounding the foundation for your masculine soul aspect and your feminine soul aspect, that androgynous soul, right? To really ground deeper into you, because you're pushing your energy and sharing your energy with the earth. It's like breathing with the earth. That makes sense.
Breathing with the
Mm.
earth. That is probably a
Mm.
great tool when you travel and you go to a new place and you need to ground with like that we're aligned with the energy
Exactly.
of the place. That is a great tool to do right away to ground.
Exactly. 100%. It really just, and also, with the energetic shifts that happen so much at the moment, sometimes you just have that day when you're like, oh, I'm off. I'm no longer aligned. I don't quite know how to align again, Then I always do that exercise, because maybe the earth grid has shifted, or, Solaris is sending different codes, or for whatever reason, I have to realign in my energy body. Then that always helps me to do that.
On a deeper
Mm.
question, because you're talking about grounding and with everything shifting right now, how do you stay grounded and also access higher powers all at the same time?
That's interesting. I think come through practice for me. So when I spend time with my soul, or when I'm in my own, let's call it meditation space, or going into soul space, I would start with grounding and really grounding myself down into the center of the earth, connecting to the crystal core, and then actively open my channel up and kind of feel like that central channel is completely open. And then when I want to be in soul, what I do is I kind of expand my energy body out and hold that soul presence. So it's like you and I are talking. We're not just talking in physical, we're talking
Yeah,
higher
we're
self
we're
to higher
definitely
self.
extended and connected. Like,
We're soul to soul, right? And
yeah.
so it's when you can hold that space that I think you can automatically hold the higher frequency. But for me, it's a process of first grounding and then opening higher. Like that's how it works for me. I don't come straight into my higher frequency if I haven't done that grounding first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So grounding
Mm.
first, set the roots, set the foundation of your home, of your
Mm.
base, and then open
Mm.
up your crown and your light and bring the angels in. What a great tool and simple way to do it, but just opening your heart, opening your field
Absolutely.
to connect the
Absolutely.
soul and everything that comes with. And you
Mm.
said something very important, which is a reminder that you put 10,000 hours into anything, you'll become a master. So the more you practice being here and there and everywhere at the same time and being aware of it, it becomes natural,
Mm.
almost something that you don't have to think about.
I also did a lot of sort of qigong energy work practices with energy balls and things like that to really start to become aware of my own energy field. Like I did a lot of that work, which I think was quite instrumental.
And that's a very important
Mm.
point that you're sharing is you put a lot of work into really mastering and getting to know your energy field. And that is probably important to do first because we don't understand the power of our energy field until we get to taste our own medicine, right? We channel out that
100%.
we think like, oh, it's good. We could be overwhelming somebody for somebody, or it could be too much or too intense. And by doing that home, you get to practice and taste what your power is like. Is this something you would
Absolutely.
recommend for every single one of our audience
Yeah,
members to do?
definitely, Veronica. You know what? It wasn't just that for me. Doing that work gave me the energy to hold space for others. It's like that's my energy field rejuvenation work. And if you can't, your gifts should be an overflow of abundance. They should be an overflow. They shouldn't be given in scarcity. Like you should be looking after yourself, and then they should overflow. That's the true way that abundance and love, and that's the true way that the universe works, right? And so you have to look after yourself to give to others, and that work is primary, because I don't think you can be authentic in your embodiment. And I don't think you can authentically hold space for more and more and more people and create more impact if you're not doing that work for yourself, first and foremost.
You just shared with us the
Mm.
formula of healing. If your cup is overflowing, you're naturally assisting in helping others heal. If your cup is not overflowing, there's not much you can do. So that all you have to do is fill your cup every single day using the tools, using the practices, using the magic that you
Yeah.
have. Would you please, because I really want our VIP members to taste the true
Mm.
raw power and passion of your
Mm.
land. Would you guide us into a
Beautiful.
beautiful journey, maybe
Mm.
ground us into the land for a
Absolutely.
lot of us who don't have the chance to visit that part of the
Mm.
world to get the essence to
Mm.
awaken that power within us? Because one thing that I personally discovered on my traveling journey is every time I travel to a place and I connect to the healing power of the land, I always have that
Mm.
within me. I can access it. So
Mm.
hopefully through your journey today, we can always access the wild, pure, grounding energy of South Africa. Would you please guide us on a journey
Beautiful.
like that?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. That's just the best medicine I could bring today.
Beautiful. Let's do it.
Mm.
Pure passion, pure fire,
Mm.
pure grounding in Mother Earth. Thank you for this beautiful journey.
Mm.
It felt so real. I've never gone to the center of Earth to connect to the fire, to its fire. That was a new beautiful addition that I got to experience today. And hopefully every
Mm.
single one of you that goes through this journey gets to experience what it's like to ignite that earthly passion and fire within all of us. Because if you are on this journey, if you are listening to this, chances are that not only have you chosen a more difficult path because this is your road to self mastery, but you're also gifted a lot of tools to help you go through your path. So if you feel that you've been through a lot of hardships in your life, then now they also have the powerful gifts that are ready to be unleashed within you to go through everything the life hands to you. Thank you for this journey. It's been
Mm.
magical. It's been beautiful. And I just want to stay in it. It feels so grounding. It feels so stable, which is very interesting because everything is constantly shifting. In fact, our physical body, there's nothing tangible. Everything is constantly moving, motion. And maybe for the first time, you'll get to understand how important groundness is
Mm.
when everything is constantly shifting. What is one thing that you would like to share with our beautiful souls in conclusion to help them in their journey?
I think it would be not to be afraid of the fire, not to be afraid of the fire, because it is everything the opposite to what you believe. And so we are scared of our own passions. We're scared of that wild side within us. We're scared of the wild, untamed soul, right? And yet, actually, that is the portal to innocence. And it's when we can embrace that in all that it is that we see ourselves in our innocent remembrance of who we are. And so when there is fire in your life, just embrace it. When those things are coming and you don't understand it, the more you lean into it, the quicker you're going to walk through it, the more you're going to see the soul contract that's behind it and set yourself free.
And when fire shows up in your life, and I see the birds just going around the window right now, when fire shows up in your life, how do you embrace it? Do you become fire or do you become a water or a different element to dissipate the fire? How do you do that?
Well, there's two levels to that. So the first is the water is within the fire and the fire is within the water, right? That's real alchemy. So you have to walk through the fire to get to that water. You have to embrace it and honor everything that it is for it to shift. And
Mm.
so to embrace it, you have to be able to stand in it, see it, honor it, acknowledge it, and begin to dance with it, even if you don't feel like that's going back into that gratitude. That's that feeling of I'm dancing with this situation, even though I really don't like it. And it's only when you can do that that I think you can step through to a deeper healing, which would be more like your water energy, that can then come and balance that alchemy and bring the steam, which is the clarity that flows through your energy body and actually raises your vibration, right? That's what happens after you've been through these traumatic events. You get to this point where your healing brings that energy to completion.
How amazing. Become your own alchemist.
Absolutely.
It truly is what we're doing
Absolutely.
here is we're transmuting, we're creating, we're uplifting, we're becoming. We are the true alchemists of everything that is happening in our lives. Thank you for sharing. What a beautiful, simplistic way of teaching that.
It's actually really practical.
Some of the best things are free, right? And they're easy and they're simple.
Totally. Totally.
Dance to the fire, be the alchemist, use every element that you're made of. Ultimately, be the best version, the most unfolding and becoming version of who you're meant to be. And if there's a part of you, you're like, Veronica, so how do I do this again? Zoom out, see what the soul lesson
Absolutely.
is, dance with the elements that come into your life because they're only meant to awaken within you and become stronger. And if you were to look back at your path and see all the hardships that you've been through, that you became actually stronger in a process after every single one of them. That should be enough fuel to keep you going on this path, on this spiritual evolution, on this road of becoming the beautiful, angelic, light version of you that you're meant to be. Thank you so much, beautiful angel. Thank you
Absolutely.
for
Uh-huh.
bringing to the summit the wild and passionate energy of South Africa. I felt it, and it's just so, so, so empowering.
Thank you for inviting me. It feels really great to be here.
I am very grateful for the work that you do. And if
Mm.
for our audience, if there's every cell in your body tells you like, I want to taste this firsthand, I want to take this journey to the next level, then follow the link below and continue your journey with this beautiful, beautiful soul. Thank you for being
Mm.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Until the next time.